Today we're going to talk about the second way to solve linear systems using substitution. There's actually two different kinds of equations that you're going to get. So far, this is the kind that we've had. So take a moment, pause the video, write all this stuff down, the date, the topic, all that kind of stuff. This first one is going to be a review. Remember, this is going to be the problem. I'm still having you guys get lost on that. This is the problem. You're given two equations. You're trying to find x and y. That's what you're trying to answer. What does x equal? What does y equal? I can't solve this because I have two variables. I can't solve this for x or y because I have two variables. So I've got to have a way to solve this so I can figure out x and y, so I can write it as the ordered pair x comma y, because remember, it's where those two lines intersect. So what we've done so far is one of our equations has always been solved for a variable. And that's what we start with. We look at the equation that says y equals or x equals where the variable is by itself. That's what we know. We circle that, and then we drag that to the other equation, and we replace that variable with what's in the circle, the substitution part of it. So the 3x in the second equation that we're writing is going to stay 3x. The plus sign is going to stay a plus sign. The y that I scribbled out is going to be replaced with what y is equal to, which is the stuff in the circle, 2x plus 5. And then I finish writing the equation equals 10. Once I get that all written out, now I have an equation to find out what x is equal to, because the only variables here are x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify on either side of the equal sign, get rid of any parentheses, which there are none, combine any like terms. We have a 3x and a 2x, so when we add those together, 3x's plus 2x's is 5x. We don't do opposites because we're not moving to the opposite side of the equal sign. Once we get each side simplified, then we're going to get x by itself. Now we are going to move to the other side. We want to remove the 5, so we're going to subtract 5. Bring down 5x. These 5's cancel. 10 minus 5 is 5. And then divide both sides by the 5 that's in front of the x. And x equals 1. So we have our x value. So we know for our ordered pair that our x value is 1. Now we're going to take that x value and we're going to bring it back up here, and we're going to substitute it into one of these two equations. One of them usually makes more sense. Like, why would I want to put x in here, have to multiply it, then move that over to get y alone when I have this one already all by itself? So I'm going to use that second equation, or I'm sorry, that first equation, y equals 2x plus 5, and I'm going to substitute the 1 in for x. So now I'm going to have y equals 2 times 1 plus 5. Order of operations says to multiply first. So we have 2 plus 5, so y is equal to 7. And now I have that ordered pair. This is what we've been doing. All of our equations that we've done so far are where we have one of the variables by itself. What we're going to do today is we're going to see what happens when one of the equations is not solved for one of the variables. So here's what you're given. 3x plus y equals negative 7, and negative 2x plus 4y equals 0. So here are the two equations I'm given. 3x plus y equals negative 7, and negative 2x plus 4y equals 0. My goal here is still to figure out what does x equal. Well, if I try and solve this for x, I have a y there, so I can't get x alone and just have a number. If I try and solve this one for x, same thing, I have that y there. If I try and figure out what y is, same issue. I have the x there. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to solve so I can figure out what this ordered pair is, this x comma y value. So to do that, I want to use substitution. So we come over here and we look for which equation is by itself. Which one has a variable equals? Well, neither of them do. This is what makes these more challenging. We cannot just circle one of the equations right away because neither of the equations starts out y equals. This one doesn't start out y equals, this one doesn't start out y equals. So your first step is you are going to have to solve one of these equations for y. And usually one of them is easier to solve than the other. And I'm going to tell you in this class we're going to keep it pretty basic. You're looking for the equation that has the variable by it with no coefficient. So it's y plus some x or y minus some x or something like that. So we're going to take that equation, 3x plus y equals -7, and we're going to solve it for y. So we're going to move the 3x over by subtracting 3x from both sides. Bring down the y. We can't combine these, so I'm going to write it as -3x minus 7, or you can write it as -7 or -7 minus 3x. So now this is our new equation. We just took that first equation that's highlighted in orange, and we just rewrote it like this. These two are exactly the same equation. They're just written in different forms. And now, because I've written it so it's y equals, now I know what y is equal to, and I can circle that. Sorry, I went through the subtract or the negative sign there. And I can substitute that into this other equation. So I can rewrite the second equation, -2x plus 4 times y, which instead of y, I'm going to write -3x minus 7. And then finish writing equals 0. And now I have just x, and I can solve this for x. So I'm going to distribute through the parentheses. We have -2x. 4 times -3x is -12x. 4 times -7 is -20. 8 equals 0. Go on either side of the equal sign, combine any like terms. -2x and -12x is -14x equals 0. Now start moving everything away from the x. So we're going to add 28. So we have -14x equals 28. Divide both sides by -14. And x equals -2. So now we have the x value. Now that I know what x is, I'm going to drag that back up and substitute it in. I can substitute it into one of these two given, or I can substitute it into this one, which is the orange one, just rewritten. I would much rather substitute it in this one, much rather. Way less work. So I'm going to substitute in y equals -3x minus 7. So I'm substituting in -2 for x. So we have -3 times -2 minus 7. We multiply first. -3 times -2 is 6 minus 7. 6 minus 7 is -1, so y equals -1. So we go back up here, put that in. I'm going to do one more example in the next video, but if I make the videos too long, they take too long to upload.